This third video lesson, I will then briefly describe what is international economics as a branch of economics. So, firstly, I should highlight that the methodology, the concepts, theories, models in international economics, they follow exactly the same approach as in any other area of economics. But there are certain specific themes that are of interest in international economics, which are explained on this slide. So mainly, of course, the level of analysis focuses on interaction between different countries or sovereign states. So that means that often the perspective is at a relatively macro level. However, we are also interested in also firm level interactions, for example, exporting firms or multinationals. So in these video lessons, I will proceed along this kind of ordering of the seven themes presented on this slide. So these are like the topics of interest in international economics. The first one is what are the gains from trade? Second is the pattern of trade. The third one is already mentioned in the first lesson called protectionism. Fourth one, the balance of payments. Fifth one, exchange rate determination. Sixth is international policy coordination. And seventh is the international capital market. So if you think about these themes, then the first ones relate to the subfield of international trade of goods and services, whereas then the latest themes are more could be described as international money when we talk about exchange rates and capital markets. So we will dive into these themes in more detail in the following video lessons, but let's start briefly about the gains from trade and the pattern of trade. So firstly, why is trade between different countries beneficial? So there are two basic reasons. Of course, the first one is quite obvious. Countries are different and they are good at producing different things. So if we think, for example, from the perspective of Finland, where I'm living in, so obviously Finland cannot grow its own oranges or bananas or other exotic fruits. So we need to import this kind of fruits from more warmer countries. On the other hand, Finland has a long tradition of building ice-breaking vessels, which it can export to other countries. So differences in the country's climate and geographical conditions can give this kind of certain kind of advantages in producing certain things and disadvantages in others. The second theme that we also consider in the courses relates to the economies of scale. So when a small country specializes to a more limited range of goods, then it can produce each of these goods at a larger scale. And larger scale means that there can be cost savings and efficiency gains, and therefore then exporting these goods, it can open up to this kind of opportunity to utilize economies of scale at very different way than and as this is especially beneficial for small countries like Finland. So the second theme was the pattern of trade, and if you look at briefly patterns, so of course we can draw a distinction between exports and imports. So on this slide, I took from Wikipedia some latest information that I could find about the largest exporting countries and importing countries. So on the left part of the table, this is from year 2023. There's this countries in order of exports in millions of US dollars of value. and then also on the rightmost column, there's also which is the top export product. So we see that obviously large countries or countries with a large population tend to also export and import more. In the exports, there is China on the top, followed by the United States and Germany, United Kingdom, and so on. So notice that if you would, for example, take just Germany and United Kingdom, add them together, then exports of Germany and the UK are together larger than exports of United States. So if you take this European nations or the European Union member states together, then the exports are very large. Of course, we also need to take into account that, for example, much of the exports from Germany are to other EU member states and other European countries. So in that sense, that also makes comparison to the United States more difficult. If we think about then these top export products, it's not surprising to see that Germany or Japan are exporting cars, or Taiwan exporting integrated circuits, or Ireland exporting ICT services. But perhaps some of these top export products are also somewhat surprising. Then the picture becomes a little bit different if you consider imports rather than exports. So imports are what country is bringing from other countries. Exports are what the country is selling to other countries. So if you consider imports, then by far the United States is the largest importing country. And in this right column, there is also European Union taking as a single unit, so excluding this kind of trade between the member states, but imports from outside of the EU. So the United States is a bigger importer in 2022 than the European Union, for example. And China is only in the third place or second place, depending on how we count this European Union. So if we could also compare the imports and exports, so we can see that China exports more than it imports, whereas for the United States it's the other way around, that the United States imports more than it exports. And this kind of trade balances we will also consider later in this course, what this kind of current account surplus or deficit means for a country. So in the next video lesson, then we will look into a little bit more detail and trade patterns of Finland, and consider the first theoretical model called gravity model of trade. See you then.